Okay, what's going on YouTube? The last good man in Jersey. Different feel for today's episode because we're going to take a different approach to what we cover today. So, different setting, different music. I want this to have a very different tone. Normally, my episodes focus on content that's solution oriented. I think there's a lot that's going on in the general dating space, the manosphere, etc., that complains about problems with dating, but there's not much of a conversation around solutions. It's easy to say there are too many baby mamas, there are too many dusties. It's a lot harder to talk about how to solve that or what to do to actually find what you're looking for when that sounds like it's all that's out there. Today's episode is going to focus on something that happened yesterday that I found. Was it yesterday? Starting to lose track. What's today? Well, 2 days ago. Essentially, I went on Kendra G, and I was selected. There's a 13-minute Facebook clip that she made that was me outlining, through her process, who I'm looking for. And I want to talk about it because there are definitely some advantages to it that I don't think you'll see if you just look at like the clips in the comment section, because they paint one picture that's very different than the picture you see if you actually go on the show and you actually see the results of that. Okay. Before we do that, click like, click subscribe. And with that, let's get into the conversation. Okay, now first let's do a little bit of setup. If you don't know Kendra G, and I won't pretend to know her intimately, but Kendra G is a celebrity. I think she's part of a news team, but beyond what she does for her news show, she runs a podcast that's focused on dating, mainly black dating, not exclusively, but let's roughly say 90% of the people she hosts are African American. It's an interesting show. I've seen a few of her episodes. I've tried to get on a couple of times over the course of about a week and a half and finally did. And what's interesting is that she asks some very relevant questions about who it is you're looking for, so that she can paint a picture for her audience of who you might like, and gives the audience a chance to drop into your DMs. She'll ask you for your Instagram handle or your Facebook handle. She's on YouTube now, so she'll figure out how that works. But basically, she puts a person in front of 1,000 people, thousands of people, lets them sell themselves, and then invites people in the audience who are interested to reach out, shoot their shot, potentially find relationships. Now, I was on Kendra's show, and it was interesting because I've seen the show a few times, and looking at the people who participated on the show, I didn't realize how difficult doing a show, being the interviewee, could be. In part because when I was suddenly a participant, I realized, thousands of people might view this clip. I don't want to say anything that's stupid. I don't want to do anything that makes me look bad. I do want to come across well, but, I'm doing this live, and it's kind of like being thrown into the ocean. even though you know how to swim, you're kind of caught off guard, which is a bit of her show because she has a huge audience of people who are waiting to get on, and you never know if you're going to get called. So you're watching the show and suddenly, pop, you're live. What I want to do is talk about a couple of things that I've learned as a result of being a part of the show. And I will kind of take a moment, if she sees this, which I'd be surprised at, but to say to Kendra, thank you for having me on the show. It was a great experience, and I've been more or less happy with the results of being on the show. I don't know how successful I was expecting the show to be, but I can definitely say that I got a huge response for being on the show, and it did open my eyes to a couple of things about kind of her audience, a bit about the dating landscape. There was a lot that I learned, but part of what I really want to do is, I have no idea what's going on in the background because I'm just playing random songs from Alice in Chains because I think they've got an edge to them, and I think that's the right feel for what I'm doing today. On the show, it was a 13-minute clip, and I basically tried to make a couple of points. I'm 51. Financially, I do pretty well. And I'm looking for something specific. I'm not casting a wide net. My message is definitely not, hey, to any women out there, pick me. That's not my message at all. My message is more specific. I've set myself up reasonably well. And at this point in my life, what I'm looking for is someone who's available to participate in a relationship. Now I mentioned a couple of things I was looking for, woman 30 to 45. Didn't put limits on kids or not, but did say some things that were specific. One of which was, if a woman has kids, then I'm not going to marry her because I don't see the point of getting married to someone simply so that I can spend my money raising their kids. If a woman had my kids, that's different. But if a woman was going to have my kids, I'd look for a woman who's younger. Fertility and fertility stats, all that stuff. Basically, women who are younger have higher success rates. So if I'm looking to have kids, it's going to be with someone who's got a higher success rate. I laid out a couple of criteria about income, because I said I want someone who doesn't make a lot of money. And that triggered a lot of women, which I didn't expect. We'll get into that in a minute. But fundamentally, my position was, look, if you're making, and I threw out a number, 60K as a guideline. If you're making that kind of money, above average money, you have above average responsibilities. So I expect someone who makes a lot of money, above average, to have an above average load. They're not working 40-hour weeks. They're bringing work home and they're tired, and sure, they'll cohabitate with you, but that's the kind of person who I would expect to be low energy at the end of the day. So I'm done working and I come home to someone who just wants to sit on the couch and watch TV. That's not what I want. So I was quite clear about, that. Like, I want someone who is free. And I suggested that, Kendra suggested, but I confirmed that, someone who wanted to be a stay-at-home housewife, homemaker, would be fine with me, because that means that they're free when I'm free, which is basically what I want. I did put a stipulation on marriage, which was, if I was going to get married, there would be a prenup in place. And the chat went livid over that. So, okay, that's interesting. But I guess there are a couple of things to talk through that I think are worth noting. in particular for people who started watching my show as a result of seeing the videos. So let's sort of talk through that. When I looked at the comments, which I've got to admit, it was fascinating. We've got, almost 1,000 people commenting on a video about me. I've never had that many people comment on me at one time. So, that was better than anything I've seen on Netflix. Just being able to go through and read that. The comments sort of fell into themes. One theme was this guy's hideous, bug-eyed, all sorts of, just that standard sort of stuff. People who are trolling, they're going for likes and laughs. I get that. That was a big theme, and I thought, okay, that's how you feel. That's fine. Not, I acknowledged on the show that I don't think I'm a particularly handsome guy. That's so fine. That's a bucket of people. There was another big bucket of people. This is in the comments section, and we'll talk about kind of the responses I got because that looks very different. But there was another theme, which was women saying that I came across as being controlling. I wanted someone who worked. I wanted someone who was available when I was available. I wanted someone who didn't make much money. I wanted someone who would sign a prenup. And the comments were, controlling. That was the piece that was a little curious to me because I thought, I'm not controlling. I don't think it came across as controlling, but let me potentially look at that and say that there was a misunderstanding and that I want to clarify sort of what I'm looking for, what my expectations are and how it works. Because maybe there are a couple of women who are, good women out there and misunderstood that. I kind of doubt it, but, I'll give some room to that. My position, kind of my selling proposition was this. I do well. I don't need a woman who does well. I need a woman who has free time. The less money you make, the more free time I assume you have. If you're interested in being a stay-at-home wife, then that's great. That works perfectly with my schedule. Because, starting a family and having someone there who can raise that family, that's incredibly valuable to me. And a prenup is, in my mind, a no-brainer. I think that it would be incredibly stupid for a man who's successful to marry a woman who doesn't make a lot of money, who makes a fraction of what he makes, and to not have a prenup in place. And two people who think that that's, trap setting, the comment is, my question is this, what is a prenup? The only way a prenup is a problem is if you get divorced. If you have no plans on getting divorced, then there's no problem with the prenup. Now, what a prenup is, it's a massive disincentive to get divorced. So if someone's saying, hey, you want a woman who doesn't make a lot of money and who signs a prenup so that she can't just skip out and divorce you and sue you, congratulations, you're right. That's exactly why I want a prenup. I don't want someone who can just decide she's bored and she wants out. And oh, by the way, she wants to sue me for half of my money, which she didn't help me to earn. No. It was very interesting to look at the comments because the comments were very focused on all the ways relationships can fail. Kind of the theme that I got from the comments was people didn't really seem to know what a healthy relationship could look like. And so they focused on the negative. They focused on all of the things that could go wrong and all of the ways that sort of what I was offering could leave someone in a horrible situation. Now, could I marry someone and get divorced several years later and they leave with nothing? Yeah, that's a possibility, but that's not the math. Far and away, when there are divorces, women are filing for divorce, not men. Men don't really leave. Um, among the black community, that's even more of a problem. Black women file for divorce at a much higher rate than general and stay in marriages for a much shorter period of time. Point there is this. If I'm offering someone a deal, I'm saying, hey, I'm looking for a housewife who, I can afford it. We can live a comfortable life. I just want to make sure that we live it together, that we're not spending our evenings on the couch, too tired to go out and do anything because we've been working all day. I want someone who's active and can participate. I'll take care of kind of infrastructure. You just take care of, being fun and available. We can start a family, but you've got to sign a prenup so that if things get hard, it's not easy for you to just bounce. You've got to sign up to be in this for the long haul. Now, if that's a trap, okay, your definition of trap, my definition of negotiation are different. And that's fine. But I do think it's a very curious thing to hear someone say, I'm going to offer you a whole lot of benefits. The cost of which, though, is that you don't have a good exit strategy. I find it very interesting that so many people focused on the lack of an exit strategy as being far more detrimental than all the benefits that someone could receive. Like, okay, enjoy your 9 to 5, and enjoy, whatever life you have. But if you're complaining about not having what you want, it does beg the question. If you had a guy who could give you what you want, would you know what to do with him? Would you know how to treat him? Or do you have such a resistance to relationships that the only thing you know how to do is fight? Now, that was the show, and that was sort of the comment section, which, that's kind of the outsider's view of what happens. What you don't see is the comments that I got from women who were, interested, shooting their shots, so to speak. That's a very different audience. It's very, the comment section is, that's just a madhouse. It's all sorts of stuff. You can't take it too seriously. As far as response rate, this is for guys. I would strongly encourage you, if you're on the market, to try to go on our show. It is an effective way to get more people to take a look at you and to reach out. People who you might not normally, interact with. You wouldn't normally interact with. I don't know how many responses I've gotten. I guess it's been 2 days. I'll ballpark and say probably, around 100, somewhere around there. So, okay, 100 responses. Now, there are things to understand. I was very clear about what I wanted. I did have a couple of stipulations. I don't want a woman who's overweight. A woman can have kids, but I'm not going to marry a woman who has kids. So there's got to be some recognition that, if you're looking for a relationship with me and you have kids, then we're talking about being life partners. And I can see a life partner, but that's what the deal is. There's no way I'm going to sign up to be financially responsible for you and your kids and maintaining that lifestyle. I have a child, and my money is going to be spent on my child, or my child and any other children who I have. That's my focus. So don't want women who are overweight. Not going to marry a woman who has kids. Okay. In the 100 responses that I got, roughly, these are all estimates. Let's say 70% just, dismissed right off the bat. They were women who were overweight. really overweight, sometimes overweight with kids. And I just thought, okay, I get it. You're just, shooting your shot. You don't really care about, you're not taking seriously what I said my criteria were, but, okay, that's you. I don't have time to go through, 70 people who clearly didn't care about my criteria and respond to all of them. I'm saying that because I have been trying to respond to everybody who, sent a legitimate answer in. It's like, okay, you're slim, fit, medium, or you're older, you have kids, but you may not be focused on marriage. You may be looking for a life partner. Like, okay, if you fit what I was talking about, then great, let's talk. Thing that's funny to me is that there are a lot of women who responded who really just don't seem to be thinking everything through. I mean, I live in New Jersey and made it quite clear. My life is here. If someone says, that's a problem because they live somewhere else, I get it. That's great, but, you got to wish them good luck. I'm not moving. Whoever I'm with would need to move here. And people may say, well, that doesn't work for me. It's like, that's fine. I'm not for everybody. I'm not casting a wide net. I'm fishing with a fishing pole. Small number of people who probably see what I'm saying and say, yes, this is exactly what I want. And to them, I say, drop into my DMs. Some of the challenges that I faced were follow through. There are women who seem like really solid women, but were not in the New Jersey area. And they were reaching out to start conversations, but I don't necessarily think they thought through how this would work. The idea in my mind is, eventually we meet in New Jersey. I have the means to travel wherever I want to visit people, but that's not the plan. New Jersey is the plan. So women who are interested in meeting me and who are available to travel to New Jersey, sure. And obviously in 2 days we didn't get that far in any of the conversations, but as we started just kind of mapping out, like, what do you like to do? Do you have a sense of humor? What what kind of life are you looking to live? It became clear that, these are women who are tied to their areas. And that's fine, but it doesn't make sense to reach out to me if you can't move to New Jersey because, we're just not going to see each other. Let's say of the 100 responses, there are about, at this point, 10 that have some legs, meaning these are women who don't have kids or do have kids and don't seem to be concerned about getting married. And they seem to be able to, visit New Jersey, see where things could go if we get to that point. Okay. I was on Kendra G for 13 minutes. I got almost 1,000 responses, largely negative, but, the comments gallery, which you kind of dismiss. And I got about 100 people in my DMs who said, hey, I'm interested in talking to you. 10 of them actually being people who seem to be worthwhile. 13 minutes, 1,000 comments from, 1,000 criticisms from people who you don't know, and 10 solid leads. That feels like a pretty good deal. So, think it through. I think there's a lot of merit in, putting yourself out there. But it is a little bit scarier than I thought going in. You are going to be in front of, thousands of people, potentially, on the internet forever. So just kind of get over that and, enjoy it.